Have you ever just stared out at the horizon and wondered what's really out there? We're going to dive into a story about a young woman who did a whole lot more than just wonder. It's a tale about journeying, about purpose, and what that distant line can actually teach us about our own lives.
So our story kicks off in a place called Seacliff. Just picture this, a tiny coastal town kind of wedged between the endless ocean on one side and these massive, steep cliffs on the other. For the folks living there, this was it. This was their entire world. Those cliffs and that sea weren't just scenery. They were the boundaries of their lives. It felt safe for sure, but it also felt, well, final.
But living in this town was a young woman named Alara. And here's the thing. While everyone else was looking inward, at the familiar streets and their cozy homes, her eyes were always pointed outward. It wasn't the town that held her attention. No, she was completely captured by the great unknown, the mystery that was just past the town's borders, beyond that perfect line where the sea seemed to touch the sky.
So this first part of our story really digs into that core tension between Ilara and the world she was born into. It's a classic conflict, right? The comfort and safety of home versus that irresistible pull of the unknown.
Life in Seacliff was all about contentment. Everything was predictable, it was safe, it felt like time had just decided to stand still there. And the villagers, they looked at the open ocean not as a place of opportunity, but as a place of danger. They'd tell all these scary stories about lost ships and sailors. Yeah, their world was cozy, but man, was it small.
And this is where you can really see the two mindsets clash, right? They're just worlds apart. On one side, you've got Seacliff, a town driven by safety, sticking to what's known and just being content. But then you have Ilara, who's powered by curiosity, a fascination with the unknown, and this deep, deep sense of longing for something more. It's a totally different way of looking at life itself.
Okay, so a longing like the one Alara had, well, it can't just stay quiet forever. Sooner or later, it's going to demand some action. And this next part of the story, it's all about that moment, that pivotal decision to stop dreaming and finally start doing. The thing that kicked off her entire journey? It wasn't some grand prophecy or a sign from the heavens. Nope. It was something way more humble. An old, beat-up rowboat, half buried in the sand. Where everyone else just saw a piece of junk, Ilara saw a ticket. She saw a way out. This weathered old boat was her one chance to finally answer the ocean's call.
Just before she left, her father, who was a retired fisherman, he gave her two things, a compass and this incredible piece of advice. He got it. He understood that her quest wasn't really about finding a specific place. And this one sentence, it basically becomes the compass for her entire adventure and for the whole point of our story.
And just like that, she sets off. This next section is all about the voyage itself. And let me tell you, it was a journey filled with both mind-blowing beauty and some really profound terror. It was going to test her in every way imaginable.
Can you just imagine that feeling? As she's rowing away, watching the cliffs of Seacliff get smaller and smaller, she must have felt this incredible rush of freedom. In the open ocean, it started to show her its secrets, rewarding her courage with sights she could only dreamed of.
Just try to picture it. Whales, these massive creatures just leaping out of the water in this graceful arc. Or mysterious islands just materializing out of the morning mist like ancient secrets being revealed. And sunsets so intense they'd bring tears to your eyes, painting the entire sky in fire and gold. This was the magic she was searching for. This was the reward for daring to look beyond home.
But the ocean has two faces. And for every single moment of serene beauty, there was a moment of absolute, heart-pounding terror. The sea wasn't just beautiful. It was wild, it was unpredictable, and it was completely unforgiving.
And she went through some serious stuff. We're talking storms that threw her tiny boat around like it was a toy, waves that were taller than any building back in Seacliff, and maybe worst of all, days of absolute stillness, just stuck in the oppressive heat. But here's the key thing. Every single one of those challenges, it didn't break her. It just made her stronger.
So after what must have felt like an eternity out on the water, her journey reaches a climax. She arrives. But as we're about to see, the physical arrival is just the launching point for a much, much deeper discovery inside herself.
And then, one morning, there it is, land. A lush, green island, looking like a place that time forgot, just appears on the horizon. Can you even imagine that feeling? That profound sense of awe and just relief as she finally steps onto solid ground. She did it. She had reached the horizon.
This was supposed to be it, right? The prize at the end of the race, the reward for all her courage. But as she started to explore this beautiful new land, a strange feeling began to creep in. A realization that started to dawn on her. The island, it wasn't the answer she thought it would be.
And this right here is where we get to the real heart of the whole story. It's in this moment that Alara finally understands what her father was trying to tell her and what that horizon actually represents.
And then it hits her, this huge realization. The island wasn't the finish line, not at all. It was just one stop, one beautiful, incredible stop in a world that was filled with endless possibilities, with endless horizons, each one out there, calling to her, inviting her to keep on exploring.
So that's the big idea, right? The horizon. It's not a destination you can ever really reach. It's a direction, a guide. It's that constant pull forward. And the purpose, the real point of it all, wasn't getting to a place, it was the journey itself. So with this totally new perspective, what does she do? She gets back in her boat and she sets sail again. She leaves the island behind, but this time her heart is filled with this deep sense of peace and purpose. She's no longer just the girl from Seacliff. Now she's a voyager, and her journey, she now knows, has only just begun.
You know, Ilara's story is such a powerful metaphor for our own lives. We all have horizons, don't we? Maybe for you it's a career goal or a creative project you want to tackle. Maybe it's a journey of personal growth. The lesson here is that reaching those milestones, like Ilara's island, that's not the end. They're just new vantage points that show us even more exciting horizons way off in the distance. The real purpose, the real joy, is found in the journey itself, in what we learn, how we grow, and who we become along the way. So that leaves one really important question to think about. What is your horizon? And maybe more importantly, are you enjoying the journey?